Once you start breaking belief barriers about yourself, you will wonder what else is true that you never thought about. Okay, but would you look at this lighting setup? Oh my goodness. I love playing with light. I walked in the room and this is so gorgeous. Look at that. I was like, how can I make this stand out in my video? Oh my gosh, love it. Wait a second. Hey, my name is Darz. Welcome here on this channel. We're trying to break barriers, whether that's forcing yourself to do things like cold showers because it's healthy, or pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone so that you can grow, or just trying to figure yourself out in some way or another. I have recently discovered something absolutely mind-blowing. Like, I don't know how I didn't figure this out so long ago. I'm almost 30 years old and I'm just now figuring this out. Literally don't know how, like, what? And what does this have to do with you? Well, I'm gonna explain my story, but as I talk about this, keep in mind, if you never try new things and explore new areas that feel uncomfortable initially, you might never get to be or experience the person that you were completely meant to be. It's possible that this one thing that you might discover about yourself during an uncomfortable experience could be like the one thing that really makes you fulfilled in life. So where do I start? Somebody asked me recently about like my high school experience. And I was so awkward and shy as a high schooler. I could not talk to anybody. I didn't know, like, we used to have this like through our church, kind of like a social get together for like high school age kids, I guess. I mean, they still do it now, but I'm just not a part of it anymore. But back in the day when I was age appropriate to go, it was like, I rarely went because I just felt so awkward and I didn't know how to talk to people. So I barely ever went to these gatherings. Well, then I was asked why I think I was like that. So I started thinking about why I could have possibly been so awkward and shy. Like, what caused that? There must have been some reason, right, that made me like that, that shaped me into that person. So I was thinking about it, I was like, well, first of all, my grandma was really shy. And then my dad was really shy. So it was my dad's mom. And he didn't start tackling that shyness and ability to like speak to anybody anywhere until I was, adolescent. So I already had probably some beliefs or some feelings or some whatever it is that it was passed down to me by the time I was old enough to realize, or old enough to have it affect me already. So that was probably the start of it. The next part of it, I believe, was probably me just not really vibing with people my age. Like, I used to love listening to the adult conversation when I was a kid. I'd rather stick around the adults in the living room than go off and play with the kids my age. I just wanted to hang around the adults. That might have partially been because of my already shyness that was like instilled in me. But then as I got older, it was like my friends or the people my age our paths deviated even further. Like, if when we were little, we could mostly get along and I kind of wanted to be around the adults, but I was kind of around the kids. As we grew older, we just kind of like went apart. I was not interested in the stuff that girls my age were talking about at, 13, 14, 15 years old. I was like, bro, like, let's go for a walk in the woods. I don't need to talk about who I have a crush on. Like, it did not compute for me. I was just not interested at all. Okay, so 1, things passed down to me, right? You can't really do much about that. 2, my interests, I guess, and how it deviated from my friends. And then 3, I guess, because of those first 2 things, I started to hate school with a passion. Like, I struggled so bad. 7th, 8th grade, and then 9th grade was the worst year. And I'm sure I know so many people go through really rough times at school. But for me, at least, there was this point where I had an option to do online school. So for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, I did online school. And that was like the last part that completely split me from my friends, because at that point you can't connect on like what teachers you have or like what people are doing during school, like sports that they're attending. I was just not interested in sports, first of all. I was not interested in like the school gossip, second of all. But like, and then it becomes so much harder to connect when you're a high schooler and you don't have school to connect with people on. So I became much more of like a loner, so to speak, which made me unable to explore this area of, you know, even like trying to be uncomfortable with speaking to people, because I just wasn't really speaking to people. I wasn't putting myself in any situation where I was speaking to people. I was completely avoiding that because I felt super awkward and shy. Somewhere in there as well, I started blushing really bad, and I've talked about this before on my channel, but I was super... I would turn red in the face when I would talk to people, which obviously made me retreat into my shell even more, because it's super uncomfortable and awkward to be completely beat red in the face when you're trying to talk to somebody. It's just still something I struggle with at times, but it's not horrible like it used to be. Anyways, all of these things made me very much think that I was an introvert. I was like, I'm definitely an introvert. There is zero question in my mind. I'm an introvert. I don't like to go out. I don't like to be around big groups of people. I don't want to talk to people. Like, let me just go home and sit in my room. But on the other hand, I really loved hanging around my family. And I could sit on the couch and listen to my family, or like watch my family interact. Like, maybe I didn't interact with them as much, but I'm like, I could just hang around, just like soak in my family time all the time and be perfectly happy. So thinking you're an introvert versus thinking you're an extrovert, you're going to make very different life choices. You're going to make very different like Friday night choices. You're going to make very different, even like Tuesday after school plans. So many decisions that you make can be based on whether you think you're an introvert or you think you're an extrovert. And I definitely thought I was an introvert. So I was like staying home, journaling, spending time alone, going for walks alone. Like, I thought I was an introvert through and through, zero doubt in my mind. I was like, I am an introvert. Fast forward through a marriage, 2 kids, living in Nicaragua, living in multiple states across the US, meeting a bunch of people through different jobs that I've had, separation, divorce, moving back to my hometown, feeling super awkward there because like I've been gone and I don't know how to reconnect to people. What do you know? I'm discovering somewhere along the line, I learned this thing about introverts and extroverts that really struck me. And that was, introverts get their energy from being alone. Extroverts get their energy from being around people. I had always thought introverts just don't like to spend time with people, and extroverts just rather spend time with people. But this little shift made me think about it so differently. Like, okay, it's more about where you get your energy from. So it's not like introverts never want to spend time around people. It's just that being around people more so drains their energy, and they need to go back to their own little space to refill their battery and then go to people again, right? So it was just a little shift that was like, wow, that is so interesting. It's like completely changed my mindset. Well, here I was one day in my office at work, just really in pain, cramping from my cramps, female cramps. And I just wanted to curl up on the floor. I was like, ugh, I feel horrible. Maybe I should just go home, just call it a sick day. It was so hard to focus, concentrate. I was like, ugh, just send me home already. Well, I happen to have an issue with my computer. Talked to my IT guy, who happens to also be my cousin. And we were just chatting for a little bit after our, IT problem interaction. And after he left my office, I was feeling 1,000% better. I was like, wow, I feel great. I just like yes, I still feel the cramps, but like they're not bothering me anymore to the point where I can't think about what's in front of me on my computer. And in that moment, I was like, there was like, if somebody would have looked at me in the moment, they would have saw a light bulb flash on so brightly, like as bright as the sunshine above my head. Because I realized how much of an extrovert I really am. I'm like, okay, that snapped in my brain. That thought popped into my head of like, I just had a social interaction that literally gave me so much energy. And it made me, it was a domino effect of thinking back to all of these interactions, all of this time in my life, all of these struggles that I've had, all of the, oh my gosh, so many things. And I was like, dang, I am definitely an extrovert. I cannot even deny it anymore. I am an extrovert. I get my energy from being around people. I have tried to spend so much time alone when I'm struggling. I have tried to turn inward. I have tried to focus on myself. I have tried to self-care. I have tried to like journal, exercise, go for walks, do all the solo things. I've had so many times where I've felt horrible being alone, and then I go and I have a social interaction and I feel so much better. I have so many times where I have needed to be with people and I've said no, like I'm an introvert, I need to take care of it myself, and I have felt worse. It's just mind-blowing how much a realization about who you truly are and what you truly need can make changes about how you make decisions. Like, I am just like, this is so weird for me because I always thought I was an introvert. I thought I was an introvert. And I'm like, I am not an introvert. I am not. One more little thing that shifted for me was growing up, right? At least my mom is very like super type B, just like go with the flow, spontaneous, like randomly decides, let's go for a weekend trip, drive 7 hours, stay 2 nights, come back. And so I just really kind of had to adjust to our family dynamic being like that, even though, okay, let me get to that. But so I just thought, it's blessed are the flexible, blessed are the flexible. And I tried so hard to just be flexible and be spontaneous and go with the flow and be totally fine with things. But no, it takes me a minute when things flip on me, when I have something planned and I have it in my head of this is how things are going to go, and it just completely flips. It takes me a minute to readjust and rebalance and refocus and decide in my mind, like, this is okay. This is okay that we flipped. So I also thought that like my daily life, I'm just should be spontaneous and flexible and make decisions on the fly and this and that. And bro, in the past few weeks is when I have definitely most realized, like 1,000% again, I so much prefer routine for the most part. Like, I like to go out. I love to adventure. I love to go out and experience things, but I want it to be planned and scheduled. And I like to reduce decision fatigue, which I'm going to talk about decision fatigue in a future video. But holy cow, like, if I don't have to think about what's for breakfast, what's for lunch, what's for supper, if I don't have to think about what I'm going to do on Sunday, what I'm going to do on, like, I do my grocery order every Monday. I know I'm going to order groceries Sunday night to get it picked up Monday. I know that this day my son is going to this babysitter. I know that this day we're going to go visit my parents. This day, like, it is so much easier. So much easier. But anyways, I'm, again, talking about decision fatigue in a future video. Just such an interesting concept. But I thought I liked randomness and spontaneity. Turns out I really like my routines and my set plans a lot. I feel so much better. So, if you find yourself extremely angry, impatient, quick to tantrum in your mind, explosive, like crabby, unfulfilled, you might just have to try out some different things that make you uncomfortable. Get out of your comfort zone just a little, like, or maybe a lot. Try new paths, new ideas, new gatherings, new routines. And maybe if you never go out of your comfort zone, you're never going to discover your true self. You need to try things. You need to get out there until you find what works for you. Because until you find what works for you, you're going to be constantly in a battle with yourself. And that is what causes a lot of issues in your, daily life, I should just say. I'm not going to try to be all health expert or whatever. So I'll just encourage you, try new things. Try new things. You never know where you're going to find something that really clicks. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Bye.